What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Saturday, September 6th, 2025, and I'm bringing back the weekly recaps. Now, for those who have been subscribed to my channel, know that years ago, maybe not that long ago, I used to do weekly recaps on my channel of news stories that I wasn't able to talk about because it's so many stories to cover and I can't cover them all. So what I tried to do is try to cover as many as I can throughout the week. But then I would save one particular day where I would cover all the rest that I missed out on. So that's what I'm gonna start going back into. And it's kind of like a last minute thing because initially I wasn't going to do this, but I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and bring that back and see how that works out. If y'all been subscribed to my channel for quite some time, you already know or remember when I was doing those type of lives, and they used to always fall on a Friday. They were always Friday at 6 o'clock. But then I got away from them and started doing lives on individual topics. But I said, let me go ahead and try to, just because there are some stories that I want to talk about, but I just don't have the time to cover them because it's so much to cover at one time. And that's the one thing about the news. It's always is moving like water. It never stops moving. So that's why I'm here today. And I'm going to probably start doing this going forward on the Saturdays. Now, there might be some Saturdays where I won't be able to do them, or it might be a Saturday when I can't do it at a particular time. And I try to want to have it at this 4 o'clock region right here. But if it's a day where I can't do it, of course, I'll just let you know I can't do it that day. Or if I can't do it at 4, it'll probably happen at like 12 noon or something like that. But shout out to everybody that that is in here so far. It says only have 16 people. I don't know if the notifications didn't go out or whatever the case may be, but we're going to cover and we're going to talk about what is on the docket today. And I also have some other stories that I'm going to cover as well. I just can't fit them all in the title, but those stories right there at the top are the main ones. But shout out to everybody that is in here so far. Shout out to Ms. Nisi, Hacksign KT, Dark Titan, Raging Woody, 74, Cosmo Fury, Brother Man to You, Don P, The Informant Media, Carlton Way, Andrea Jones, Roku Mural, RBJ. Let's see who else we got here. Dewani. And that is it so far. And shout out to everybody that is here. It doesn't matter to me how small or how large the crowd is this evening, as long as y'all receiving the information in real time or in the playback. That's all that matters. But before we get into, the first story that I want to start off with, and for those who are familiar, when I used to do these type of lives, I always started out, if there was a positive story or a Black excellence story, I always started out with that one first. And I do have one to share with y'all. So let me go ahead now and share my screen, and we will go ahead and start off with that story first. And this one is coming out of Memphis, Tennessee, where you have some teens down there who are running a braid shop. So I'm going to go ahead and play this news article, and then we will discuss it.
If you're in the market for a new hairstyle, there's a young group of stylists getting a jump start in the beauty industry thanks to a very determined Memphis native. I have their story in this week's Bright Spot.
There's a new braid shop in town. Clients can come in to get serviced just like at any other salon. The only difference is that all of the staff are under the age of 17.
My favorite thing to do is not lose braids.
Teen Slate University off South Mendenhall is a teen-run braid salon.
Yeah, we were mobbing. We've been hustling for a long time.
16-year-old Darren has wanted to do hair since she was little.
I've been braiding since I was little. My mama bought me 2 mannequin head dolls when I was like 6, and I still got them to this day.
And Darren has big goals.
My true aspiration and goals is to not do hair, but my goals is to be Miss D.
Donna Carroll, or Miss D to the girls, is the owner and founder of Teen Slay U. She says what started as a braid camp for teens years ago evolved into the shop you see today.
I just want to do what it is that keeps them happy. You know, they go to school and then they come here. You know, they ready to give each other the tea, as they say.
According to the Tennessee Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners, anyone at least 14 years old can obtain a braiding certification after completing 16 hours of training in health and hygiene, but can still be compensated for their services. Donna says all of her braiders are certified.
So here at 14, we hire you.
You have to have straight partings. If not, it pulls the client's hair.
The girls are closely monitored and guided by their instructors and taught the importance of customer service and integrity.
We take you through a whole 6 to 8 week of orientation so that way you know what it's like before you actually have a client in your chair.
Donna says her ultimate goal is to provide a safe space for the girls to express themselves and become more grounded in their faith.
I hope that we can just spread positivity into this salon today. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
This is our home. We come here, we camp here, we live here. She be trying to make us go home, we stay.
Lots of talent in the room right there. And Donna actually tells me, even though they don't hire until you're around 14 years old, they do have a program where they can start training those as young as 9. Of course, we have more information about Teen Slay You on our website and how you can get your kids involved at WREG.com. By the way, if you have a bright spot in your area, just contact me with any information. That information will be there right on your screen.
Oh my goodness, Kamitra, I told you, I absolutely love this story because so many life lessons are being taught there, not just about career. And what's the young lady's name? Was it Darani? Darani said, my dream is not just to do hair. I want to be Miss D.
And that just goes to show she has a real impact on these young ladies. All of them. I know I spoke to one young lady. She said she wants to be able to give back and start a nonprofit one day to help young girls just like her.
They are probably going to be opening up their own shops down the road as
or
well.
soon,
And
probably.
that is just so exciting. I love the way she has that program laid out for them.
Absolutely.
Budding.
All right, so you have that story right there. And shout out to those young ladies down there and that woman down there who is paving the way for their success, whether it is to open their own salon or to do anything else. This is the groundwork right here as far as entrepreneurship goes. And I have to give a shout out to Black Voltron Reloaded on Twitter because he was the one that made me aware of this story. So shout out to him. And to Cosma, to answer your question, no, I have not attempted to make the mac and cheese again since the first time I made it. Let's see what y'all say in the chat. Dark Side says, good job to these young girls. Andrea said, beautiful. Ms. Nixie said, properly trained. Yes, I think that's the part that sticks out the most is them being properly trained. I think that's the best part about that. All right, so the next thing I wanted to go into is more of an update to a story that I talked about. Now, who remembers the story about this man named Patrick Braxton, who was the he was the person running for mayor in this small town in Alabama a few years ago, but they shut him out completely because they wanted to keep it pretty much an all-white board or people who wanted to run in. I forgot how the story went, but either way, they locked him out of office, but he ended up coming back and he won his election. And I do not know. Let me refresh the screen because I don't know why the screen looks like this. Okay. So he ended up coming back and he ended up winning his election. And this is him right here. First black mayor of a tiny Alabama town. And he ended up coming in. Mind you, when they were voting for him, he won, like voting wise, he won on an astronomical level. Like he got a lot of votes because, mind you, I think that town is majority black, but because of the white municipality that is there, they kept him out because they basically were trying to cheat. But let's see what they're talking about. The first black mayor of a tiny Alabama town has overwhelmingly won an election 4 years after white residents locked him out of the town hall and refused to let him serve. Incumbent Mayor Patrick Braxton was elected as the mayor of Newbern last week, winning 66 votes to his opponent's 26, according to results posted by the town. His victory puts a punctuation mark in the dispute over control of the town government that drew national attention. The people came out and spoke and voted. Now there ain't no doubt they want what they want for this town, Braxton said in a telephone interview Wednesday night. The election Tuesday was the town's first since at least the 1960s, held under a federal settlement. Black residents had sued, challenging what they called the town's hand-me-down governance and refusal to let Braxton serve after he ran unopposed for mayor in 2020. New Bern's residents number just is 133 people. That's how many people live in this town. That is the epitome of a tiny town. A library, the town hall, a mercantile, and a flashing caution light anchor the downtown about 40 miles west of Selma. What the town had been without is elections. New Bern's mayor council government had not been put to a vote for 6 decades. Instead, town officials held hand-me-down positions, which each mayor appointing a successor who appointed the council members. According to the lawsuit filed by Braxton and others, the result was an overwhelmingly white government in a town where black residents outnumber white residents 2-1. Braxton, a volunteer firefighter, qualified in 2020 to run for the nonpartisan position of mayor. And since he was the only candidate, he became the mayor-elect without an election. He then appointed a new town council, as other mayors have done. But the locks were changed at the town hall, and Braxton was denied access to the town's financial accounts. His lawsuit was also alleged that outgoing council members held a secret meeting to set up a special election and fraudulently reappointed themselves as the town council. He says, I didn't get a chance to serve but 1 year out of the 5 years, said Braxton, who finally occupied the office last year after a 3-year legal battle. Town officials had denied wrongdoing, arguing in court filings that Braxton's claim to be mayor was invalid. The settlement agreement included a promise to hold a mayoral election in 2025. Braxton had one challenger this time, a white auctioneer and realtor by the name of Laird Cole. Mayor Braxton's election represents a turning point for New Bern, restoring democratic governance, ensuring fair representation, and reaffirming that every resident has a voice in their local government. Madison Holland, program manager of political campaigns for the SPLC Action Fund, said Thursday the group endorsed Braxton in the race. The mayor said his lopsided victory should eliminate any doubts people had hanging in their heads on if people want me. It feels good the second time, Braxton said. So that's the update with that. He's finally installed as mayor. They were pulling those underhanded tactics back in 2020 to keep him locked out of that positioning. Let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. Brother Man said a tiny town is better than none. RBJ just gave hand claps, and he says not DEI. Ms. Nisi says reminds me of Owsley County. Actually, this is the opposite of Owsley County because Owsley County is pretty much predominantly white. This town is predominantly black, and they still held the power. That's why when I did the initial commentary about this when this first happened, is this just shows that the power they have, even though they are the majority, they didn't have that much power at all, so to speak. Brother Man, you said the audio is messing up. Is it on? Hey, let me know in the chat. Is the audio messing up for anybody else? Or is it just Brother Man? If it's just Brother Man, then you might have to refresh your page. So there's that right there. Congratulations to him, and hopefully he doesn't have to deal with any more obstacles. But they're informing me this is they're going to take the funds and run. Listen, if they were willing to lock this man out, I'm not surprised of what other underhanded things they would try to attempt to do. All right, so now we're about to head into another update story, and this involving those 4 degenerate cops, well, 3 rather, that were involved with Tyrie Nichols. And basically, they have new trials. I have no idea what these new trials are supposed to be, but we about to find out.
Well, a federal judge is ordering new trials for 3 former Memphis police officers who were convicted in the beating death of Tyrie Nichols. Nichols was stopped by police in 2023 and tried running away. Officers caught him, and video here shows them punching, kicking, and hitting him with a baton. Here's why the judge says new trials are warranted. After the officers were convicted, the judge presiding over the case recused himself before sentencing when his law clerk was shot in the chest during a carjacking. Now, an assistant U.S. attorney says the judge expressed that he could not meet with any member of the police department to give a statement complaining that the Memphis police are, quote, infiltrated to the top with gang members. Legal analyst Misty Maris joins me now. So, Misty, a little confusing here. So the new federal judge who took over the case did not find any bias in the decisions by the last judge. So why are these officers now getting new trials?
So the standard in federal court isn't just that bias was actually found. It's the appearance of judicial bias. And the judge who overturned the verdict and ordered the new trials focused on that statement that the Memphis PD was infiltrated with gang members. Remember, the trial did not include anything about gang affiliations. So that statement was enough to say that it has this look of bias and there's a potential for due process rights to be violated, and therefore the defendants are entitled to a new trial. The defendants also argued that at least 2 times the judge who oversaw the case mentioned potential gang affiliations by one of those defendants. So that was enough to warrant new trials in this particular instance.
So, Misty, as it stands right now, those 3 officers, they have not been sentenced, even though they were convicted. So what happens next? Where does this case go from here?
Brand new trials for all 3. So Haley, he was convicted of the deprivation of civil rights charges. Those are the higher level charges. He will get a new trial. It will be from the beginning, new evidentiary decisions, new judge. The other 2, Bean and Smith, they were convicted on witness tampering charges, but acquitted on the higher level charges. Their trial will look much different because where there's an acquittal, they cannot face those same charges again. So they will just be facing those witness tampering charges. So we're going to see brand new trials in this case.
Wow, what a twist here. Misty Maris, we really appreciate your legal analysis.
So there you have it. They're about to get new trials, but nothing that they were acquitted on. They basically trying to see if they can get them more time. Because I remember when that came out like a couple months ago, man, social media was on fire about that. Because they practically all got away with it in so many words, with the exception of the minor charges. They were basically all found not guilty of the major charge that would have sent them away for probably life. And then, you know, the other 2, they took a plea deal. So we'll see what's happening with this new trial. I'm going to try to see if I can stay on top of it. Because I remember when this happened, I was pumping out video after video after video about this when this first happened like 2 years ago. And by the way, that gang thing that they're talking about that Scorpion unit. They didn't say the name, but that's who they were referring to. They were talking about the Scorpion unit in Beverly was going on. That is what they were referring to. But of course, since then, it has been disbanded, or at least that's what they say. So now we have that update right there. Now let's really get into the topics at hand. What I gave y'all was, of course, the Black Excellence one, and the other ones were updates. But now we're about to get into the main topics, and we're going to start it with this one right here. If I was doing an Operation Protect the White Boy video, this story right here would be it. So what does the title say? Former BYU baseball starter sentenced for sexually assaulting a young girl for 5 years. But he was not sentenced to jail time. No, he practically got the, what's his name? I forgot the boy's name from a few years ago. The one who assaulted that drunk girl behind that trash can. But anyway, this man's name is Candon Dahle or Dahle. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Just hours after her first day of high school, a 15-year-old girl sat in a Fremont County courtroom and told a full gallery of people, both known to her and not, about her life from the age of 7 to 12 when she was being sexually assaulted. Candon Dahle, age 22, was sentenced by District Judge Stephen Boyce to a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 10 years in prison. Boyce then suspended the sentence and placed Dahle on probation for 8 years. Thank y'all, Brock Turner. That's who I was thinking of. Brock Turner is who I was talking about. But he only got 8. He was supposed to get 5, maximum of 10 years in prison, but he got a suspended sentence and was only given probation for 8 years for what he did to a little girl for 5 years. He was also given a 180-day local jail sentence that began on Tuesday. After that, he will be required to complete 200 hours of community service. Dahle was arrested on February 7th in Provo on a juvenile court warrant out of Bingham County for lewd conduct with a child. He was then extradited and booked into the Bingham County Jail in Blackfoot. He was initially charged in 2 counties, Fremont and Bingham, both on 1 count of felony lewd conduct with a child. Dahle later accepted a plea agreement where he agreed to plead guilty in Fremont County to amend charges of 2 counts of felony injury to a child. In return, the prosecution agreed to drop the case in Bingham County and not require Dahle to register as a sex offender while recommending a term of probation at sentencing. Dahle was a senior baseball pitcher at Brigham Young University in Provo, but is originally from Blackfoot. His athlete information has since been taken off of the baseball website. The victim and 3 members of her family provided impact statements to the court, expressing their regret over agreeing to the plea agreement following an hours-long mediation session and explaining the pain their family has experienced since they learned of the assault. Her father described his daughter's personality change drastically over the years. He says, "I cannot even hug my daughter. Touch repulses her. She cringes and pulls away every time I make an attempt to hug her. Please let that sentence marinate for a minute. Listening to my daughter, her earliest memories of the abuse she can remember are at the age of 7. I wish I could show you the videos I have on my phone of her at that age. She is truly a gift from my Heavenly Father. She is filled with pure, absolute joy. Her laughter is so contagious. To think that she had to endure a personal hell until the age of 12 at times is too much for me to bear." Dahle shed a single tear as the victim's stepfather spoke next, stating that the abuse destroyed relationships in their families. He says, "We are learning how this trauma has changed the way that her brain functions and that this will be a lifetime of her dealing with this pain. She has had several days where she could not eat. She has lost many nights of sleep and has thrown up many days and nights because of this trauma. I often find her in my arms sobbing uncontrollably, asking why this had to happen." The stepfather continues saying he has known Dahle since he was a child and looks back on previous instances now that were potential red flags. From a young age, Candon would always push the boundaries with everything, even personal touch, oftentimes making people feel uncomfortable. He did these things right in front of me, in front of all of us. My wife and I see the counselor weekly. All I can think about is how wrong Candon's actions are. There isn't a day that goes by that some aspect of our lives is not affected by this. The victim's mother was the next to speak, telling the court that the victim has been independent and a fighter since birth, saying that she didn't know how important those traits would be in her future. She suffered excruciating stomach aches for much of her childhood. Many nights were spent in pain and vomiting. This would come and go and was a constant issue. She missed so much school. My dad told me she looked like she had cancer, said the victim's mother. Now that I pieced together that those painful nights were a child's body crying out from trauma, I can hardly get out of bed each day. She continued saying she suspected that something was wrong with the victim, but that her daughter did not feel safe enough to divulge what was being done to her. I asked if someone was hurting her point blank. She wasn't safe enough to tell me then. I lived every day with the devastation of not recognizing what Candon was doing to her. If Candon had shown any remorse, things may look different today. Finally, I walked into a detective's office with my daughter. This was painful for her. She told me she didn't want to do it, but she wanted to protect others. The victim spoke last, telling the court about the specific abuse she suffered. My earliest memories of the abuse is 7 years old, but I know he was touching me before that. Almost every time we were together, Candon was touching me under my clothes. Some memories are so damaging because it was me holding in cries of pain while Candon was pleasured. I was just 11 years old when he covered my mouth because he didn't want the family close by to know what he was doing. She continued expressing the depression she would experience from the abuse because of how it felt when she found out that he had been arrested. Every single day since I was 7, Candon has made me hate myself. I wake up every morning and I have to give myself a reason to stay here. I want Candon to know that many days I have felt that I would have rather he had ended my life than for 7-year-old me to have lived through all of those years of what he did to me. He said, "You forced me to keep your secret for 7 years. I sat through your baseball games. I watched the world cheer for you. I watched you achieve every church standing and be celebrated. All whilst I screamed inside because I knew the truth. Before concluding her statement, the victim addressed Dahle, telling him that she intends to take her power back and not let the abuse shape her life. Candon acts powerful and entitled, but all it took was a 14-year-old girl to show the truth. Your Honor, I have worked so hard the last 5 months to find things I love again because he took everything from me. I need you to know that if he gets off today, I will wonder for the rest of my life why I ever put myself and my family through this. Please don't take away the only part of this that gives me some sense of peace. Fremont County Prosecutor Lindsay Blake argued for a 10-year probation term, stating that while the court received many letters of support for Dahle, it does not cancel out the fact that he is convicted of sexually abusing the victim. Did y'all hear that? They said that he received letters of support. This is a lopsided universe we are living in. Oftentimes, these kinds of cases go unreported, and just the fact that she was able to vocalize has made her a survivor. It shows her strength and courage, said Blake. There were a lot of letters written in support of the perpetrator. I'm sure the court has reviewed those. As I reviewed them, what came to mind for me is that a person can be good in a lot of ways. A person can have a lot of great qualities, but they can still have another side. Blake acknowledged that Candon completed a polygraph test that indicated that he was telling the truth when he claimed that he did not sexually abuse the victim, but noted that he did admit to the crime by pleading guilty. Candon's defense attorney, Curtis Smith, argued that his client should only receive 3 years of probation and no more than 30 days of local jail time, stating that many of the sexual assault allegations reportedly happened when Candon was also a minor, even though the incident he was being sentenced for happened when he was at 18. It says there has been nothing in this case that has been done without the goal of looking to try to do this within the system in the best way for the victim's primary and secondary, so that my client could take responsibility for what he did, said Smith, but have it understood that 98% of the misconduct happened when he was a juvenile as well. Like, it's crazy that they are literally trying to make a case for the reasons of why he should get off for what he did. Candon then gave a statement to the court through tears, apologizing to the victim for the first time. He says, I just want to say to the victim's family, my family, that I'm sorry. I truly do mean that. I know I can't fix what I've done. I can't take back what happened, but I do want them to know that I'm trying to rectify, and I have been. As Curtis said, I am going to counseling. I'm learning things. I'm progressing. I'm learning how it affected the victim, their family, and their extended family, and how it's affecting me, how it's affecting other people that I might even know. And I'm truly sorry. I want them to know that I know through all of this has been hard, although all of this has been hard, but I still do have love for their family in my heart. And I know that if it's not reciprocated, it's okay. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about them and their well-being. And I want that to be known today. You should have thought about that over the course of them 5 years of what you was doing. Before ruling, Boyce gave his thoughts on the case, noting that Dahle has no previous criminal history and is still young. Here we go. This is the protection part. He's young, so he can be rehabilitated, y'all. This is the rehabilitation part. He said, but acknowledging the severity and length of the abuse, no matter how all this resolves, there's probably going to be forever angst in this family. That's what happened as a result of your own selfish and foolish conduct. This strikes me as so unnecessary with all of the things you have going for you. I'm telling you, to be PC in this establishment must be a pleasure. And they try to claim that they're being oppressed when you got stories like this. Man, that was a lot. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. I got to scroll up a little bit. Dark Titan says, I won't be surprised to mention Donnie would have to love to meet his... Miss Nitty says she's scarred for life. Brother Man said, how did the parents not know anything? Carlton said he may got off on the course, but then the universe has a funny way of settling the score. That is very true. Brother Man says, dumb question, but is that the only victim or has he done it before? That's a good, I mean, I wouldn't say that's a dumb question. I would say that's a good question to ask because I wouldn't be surprised if there were other victims. Miss Nisi says, absolutely wicked. Beverly says, so sad, nasty, demonic. Yep. Let's see. Don P says, these PDF files are all over the place. White men want children. And yeah, and wonder why the numbers are so high on that crime stats list under FBI under that number. And I agree, no redeeming. You cannot redeem that. You just can't. So there it is. That's that story right there. So let's now move on to the next big story. And some of you may have heard about this one. This is about that University of Kentucky student. Her name is Laken Snelling, that was charged in her baby's death. Well, guess what? Operation Protect the White Woman. She's been out and she's now on house arrest. This is a real short article, but the next article that I'm going to read is much lengthier. It says a University of Kentucky student charged in the death of her newborn is now out on house arrest. Laken Snelling, age 21 of Tennessee, pleaded not guilty this week and was released on a $100,000 bond on Monday night. Police said they found her baby dead and hidden in a closet last week, wrapped in a towel inside of a black trash bag. According to court records, she admitted to giving birth and cleaning up the evidence of it. She's facing charges of concealing the birth of an infant, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. A university spokesperson told the affiliate WKYT that she is a senior and enrolled, and she is also a member of the school stunt team. Her preliminary hearing is scheduled for September 26th at 8:30 a.m. So now let's go to this part right here, because this one is going to be talking about the autopsy of the baby, of what happened. So let me go ahead and blow this up right quick. And let's see what they're talking about on here.
Beauty queen cheerleader story. This one really is just so upsetting, but I'm always surprised when after autopsy you hear something like inconclusive. This is a newborn baby. It shouldn't be that difficult. What do you think about this? Do you think it's unusual? Do you think they're just in the infancy, pardon the pun, of the investigation, that they might actually be able to come up with a cause of death later on?
Yeah, and you're right. It is very, very upsetting because it involves the baby and everything that happened. It didn't surprise me that much. I'm surprised people are reading into it so much.
And that's her, by the way. For those who never saw her picture, that's her.
Foul play on the outside. It can take time. They have to do more testing. When we do these stories and you get autopsy results initially, you don't get the toxicology results right away. You don't get all of the testing of the blood and the tissue. So I think we're going to get more. I just think it's going to take some time.
Mm-hmm. But we've all seen stories, right, where this happens and they can't medically determine if a murder happened. They have to have a cause of death. They've got to know if the baby was asphyxiated. They've got to know if there was a smothering, if there was anything, did the baby aspirate water? Because the baby aspirating oxygen, taking his first breath, does not necessarily indicate a murder, because we all know that there can be babies who die after birth, maybe because of the care that they didn't receive. But Annie, what are you looking for in terms of the investigation and where they're going to go with that?
I think they're going to look for not only what they can learn from the future medical examinations, but also what could have led up to this. I mean, all over her social media, she didn't announce the pregnancy, but she was posting photos with a visible bump, her boyfriend holding it. It looked as though she was excited for this next chapter in her life. She was also reposting different motherhood memes and things like that. So then for this abrupt end, I wonder if they're going to find anything through her digital devices or anything like that to where it does indicate that she was fearful of this pregnancy or didn't want it. And I think that's going to be a lot of the evidence that comes into play here.
Okay, Brian, weigh in on the pictures we're seeing right now. She showed up for her first court appearance wearing a red cocktail dress, lots and lots of makeup, and this sort of perfect hairdo. And I just wasn't sure what to make of it, whether a lawyer had given her bad advice, whether a lawyer gave her no advice. But this made a lot of waves on the internet. And it's also going to matter when a jury, if a jury ends up adjudicating a verdict for her, they're going to sort of see this as somebody who is maybe performative. It isn't upset or sad or mourning the loss of this baby.
Yeah, this was obviously a big mistake. I would be shocked if her attorney knew about this outfit, about the hair being perfectly done, about the makeup. Not a good look. I mean, you think back to Donald Adelson, how she purposely tried to look like this sort of frumpy grandma. I mean, there's a reason they told her to do that. You want to look sad. You want to look normal. You're not showing up to the nightclub I mean, look at her. I mean, look at the cocktail dress.
And you want to look like Meek. Think of Jodi Arias with the glasses and all of that. And now this coupled with her reputation where people are saying she's a serial bully, she was a mean girl, it's just not going to look good.
Yeah, not a good look.
Well, and Casey Anthony was she was the grandma of it all. Like, she was the one that did the frump, the best, and boy, did it work out well for her. Okay, last quick question, Annie, and this one's about those damning statements that she was this bully. That's not necessarily admissible, right, in court, but we're talking about it. It's out there in the zeitgeist, right? And juries are picked from people who watch TV and see the headlines, especially in that community.
Well, that's exactly right, Ashley. Although it's not going to be admissible, you want to be portrayed as this person who is remorseful, kind, nice. You want people to be on your side, the public, the jury. So if all of these things are out there, that she tried to run somebody over with a car, allegedly, that she bullied one girl so badly she had to withdraw from school, then she's so concerned about her appearance, she's showing up to court like this, it starts to paint a picture that it's going to be difficult to get a lot of people on board in her corner.
All right, so that's that whole clip right there. And yep, that's her. And you can't tell me that she didn't do it. And before anybody asks about the boyfriend was a white guy. Because it was a whole nother article. I didn't even bother pulling that one up, of just basically talking about who the boyfriend was or who the father of the child was. But it was a white guy. But yet you have another story right here of a PC woman having birth and tossing the baby out. And like someone else says, you would think with their genetic situation that they got going on right now, you cannot afford to do that. But yeah, I'm glad they brought up about her appearance. Like, she came in there like she was about to go somewhere that wasn't court. So people are going to look at her another way now. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next time she makes a court appearance, they're going to try to make her look like plain Jane. But let me see what y'all talking about here in the chat. Dark Time says another murderer, cheerleader Becky. Brotherman says someone must have tampered with the evidence. Andrea says, I thought they wanted more children in their community. Someone says, he said, who's doing her hair in prison? She's not in prison yet. That's the thing. He said, yet a black woman in Kentucky have a miscarriage and is unjustly jailed. So Pam said, social media is the life and the death of folks. Utterly disgusting, says Becky, looking for a sympathy idolatry version of Casey Anthony. Pam says, interesting, the way they are telling how white women should look and present to get the jury on her side. Exactly. It's like they're giving them the playbook. Because notice who they mentioned. They said Jodi Arias and Casey Anthony. Courtney Clooney looking like a gangster these days after the yeah. Whew, that woman looked rough. Pam says, yeah, but the media is showing their bias towards her by telling her to change her look. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Because they did the same thing with Zimmerman. Remember how we saw how he looked in his mugshot? Like, he was smaller. He had the facial hair a little bit. But then when we saw him, he was bigger. He was clean shaven. It was almost like looking at two different people. But that's intentional. That is on purpose. So that's that story right there. Now we're getting to the last two main stories I really wanted to talk about. But this one right here was insane. How many people, if y'all are in the chat right now, how many of y'all heard about this story of a person named Zachary Charles Newell, who is a commenter on YouTube, not a commentator as someone who has a YouTube account and they make videos, but a commenter who was basically threatening in the comment sections that he was going to shoot up a preschool with predominantly black kids. And wait till y'all hear the reason as to why he said it. So it says YouTube commenter arrested after allegedly posting threat to shoot and skin black preschoolers. He's very specific with this. Okay, some of y'all are saying, then this is a fresh story for all parties involved. A North Carolina man is facing federal charges over a comment posted online in which he allegedly threatened to, quote, shoot up a black preschool, after which the victims would be skinned, according to an FBI probable cause affidavit reviewed by The Independent. Zachary Charles Newell, age 25, was arrested Monday on one count of making an interstate threat to kidnap or injure. On Sunday, a cybercrime team at Google flagged a disturbingly violent YouTube comment to the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. The affidavit states, it says the comment has been uploaded to the video sharing site 4 days prior at 10:37 a.m. local time by a user with the screen name Commentators Hate Me. Posted beneath the video by YouTuber Andrew Esquire, a Florida lawyer whose real name is Andrew Clifford Adesky, Commentators Hate Me wrote, I'm going to shoot up a black preschool. 20 black babies will be shot and then skinned like the animals that they are. The affidavit goes on. In the video, Diadesky was discussing a reported Los Angeles police investigation into Raja Jackson, an MMA fighter who apparently went off script while making an appearance in a professional wrestling match and put his opponent in the hospital with severe injuries. The affidavit points out that Jackson, son of UFC icon Quentin Jackson, is a black male. The pro wrestler is on the receiving end of the pummeling, with Stuart Psycho or Stu Smith is white. Diadesky, who was not accused of any wrongdoing, did not respond on Tuesday to a request for comment. So the fact that he left that comment under that particular video, that's the one that pissed. So apparently he's mad with the whole Raja Jackson situation. I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but when it first happened, everybody was talking about it nonstop. And that apparently was the triggering point for him. And he decides, oh, I'm going to go ahead and say this, make this comment under there. Well, kudos to them for catching it instantly before he attempted to do what he wanted to do or was trying to do. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is him. That's Zachary Charles Newell. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I saw his picture and they told me what his age was, I said, this is why I tell you, evil will age you. This dude is 25. But you could not tell me if I was, or yourself, if you was walking down the street and you saw this guy walking, that you could say that this guy was 25 years of age. There's no way. That's why I said age. I said hate will age you, and this is what I'm saying. And exactly, Carlton, you got to watch what you write on YouTube. That's why I say, like, when y'all be leaving those comments and y'all be wondering why, oh, my comment got deleted or I can't leave comments anymore. That's because your comment probably got flagged as what they probably contain. It could be a numerous amount of things. It could be seen as harassment. It could be seen as violent, and that's why they do it. But you also got to be extra careful because you don't want them boys coming knocking on your door. Now, what he did was very extreme because he was making threats on innocent kids' lives because he was upset about the Raja Jackson situation. I mean, look at where he left the comment at. It says a day before that, Commentators Hate Me had posted a separate comment to another public YouTube video entitled WWE Wrestler Reacts to Raja Jackson Incident, according to the affidavit. He said, it says, you're an incel P word, the comment read. A literal N-word hiding in Germany. Wait until they gut you like the animal you are. The amount of pain and suffering black people are about to suffer makes me so happy. So again, he already harbors anti-black sentiments already going into this, but the Raja Jackson situation, because of the optics, that's what really sent him over the edge. That's what pissed him off the absolute most, to the point where he's leaving multiple comments on people's pages who are talking about the Raja Jackson situation to basically make threats on black people's lives. That is what pissed him off. But I'm telling you, he most likely already felt like this prior to this, but this was his powder keg moment, so to speak. It didn't take the FBI much time to track down Commentators Hate Me. The tip from Google identified the account owner as Newell and included his email address, recovery email, phone number, and home address, as well as an IP address that traced back to him. Later that day, deputies with the Carteret County Sheriff's Office showed up at the mobile home. Look at that, y'all. A mobile home. This dude lived in a home that has wheels on it. And he's sitting up there talking about what he wanted to do. Sir, your living conditions doesn't sound that great. And asked if he was active on social media, according to the affidavit. Newell said that he had posted on X, the social network formerly known as Twitter. Deputies advised Newell that they were contacted by the FBI and advised of a recent post on YouTube that Newell said he was going to shoot up in a Black American preschool and skin the children as the animals that they are. Newell advised deputies that he had made the comment on YouTube. Earlier this year, a student was expelled from a local Ohio school after allegedly threatening to kill all the Black students there. In 2024, a Connecticut teen was arrested for allegedly making death threats on social media towards Black students in Glastonbury High School. Another similar case in 2023 involved an Instagram post threatening Black students at Western High School in Anaheim, California. In 2018, a Virginia man and registered sex offender was sentenced to 33 months in federal prison for an online post threatening a mass shooting at Howard University, a historically Black college in Washington, D.C. After all, it's not murder if they're Black, 26-year-old John Edgar Rust wrote in the vile missive, which, of course, is what they're talking about from Howard. But they want to sit up here and try to tell us that white supremacy ain't a thing. When you got stuff like this, when you got things like this floating around out there. And they just gave you like 3 or 4 examples at the end of other instances of them saying that they want to commit harm to Black people at school. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. We about to get onto the last story, the one I really wanted to talk about. Taxon said he looks 40 times, says I knew he was a loose cannon. Watch what you say. Exactly. He doesn't look like it. You're talking about his age. He was eating and getting fat proves guilt. He said he definitely looks like a feminist 60-year-old. He said he looks 40 plus. He looks 48. I would have said 40, 20. Yeah, so y'all just basically going in on his age. He said white age likes old milk. He says, damn, exactly. Mobile home Billy, yeah. He said we always said they live in those conditions. Was he caught with drugs? It doesn't say he was caught with drugs. It didn't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was on something. He said he looks like he may be on the pipe. Because it seems like the FBI taking these threats against Black folks seriously about time. And Carlton, I'm actually glad you brought that up. Because you had a lot of people online that was praising Kash Patel, who, of course, you know, is the director of the FBI, about this and trying to make people like be on his side because, you know, he doesn't have the best rapport with Black people. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, why would I be jumping up and down and clapping like a circus seal for him doing his job? That's what he's supposed to do. But I knew exactly what they were trying to do. So there's that story right there. Now we are about to head into the last story of the day, which in my opinion is one of the reasons why I'm doing this live. But I wanted to also incorporate other stories as well. And that's the Dacara Thompson tragedy. And it is indeed a tragedy. Now, especially for me, because I live in the area where, well, not the exact area, but I live in the state where this happened at. And it practically has made national news at this point. So it's some people that probably don't even live in the state of Maryland who probably have heard about the Dacara Thompson story. So basically, you have this 19-year-old young woman, Black woman, by the name of Dacara Thompson, who a couple weeks ago, she was out. It was early in the morning, and she just went missing. She just vanished. And they went on a search for her for like the last couple of weeks, and they couldn't find her. And it's funny because I actually went and got my hair braided yesterday, and me and the person who braided my hair were talking about this. And literally halfway through her doing my hair, I looked at my phone, and one of my people sent me a DM saying they caught the person who did it. And here we are today. So we're going to actually get into the story itself. It says body found along highway identified as missing Maryland woman suspect charged with murder. A body found along a Maryland highway was identified as 19-year-old Dacara Thompson, a missing woman from Prince George's County, police said Friday. A man illegally in the United States, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, is now accused of killing her and is being held without bail. According to court records, WJZ investigates obtained Hernandez Mendez from Guatemala, worked at a Baltimore-based landscaping company. Our entire state mourns the horrible loss of Dacara Thompson, who was taken from us by an act of senseless violence, Maryland Governor Wes Moore said in a statement. Dawn and I join all Marylanders in praying for Dacara and her family in the wake of this tragedy. This is why people want the illegals gone. This right here is what this is the final level of what you can get to when many of them are still here, because you don't know how they, like I always say, whatever they did in their homeland, they are bringing their bad habits to here. Unfortunately, family members desperately searched for Dacara Thompson for more than 2 weeks after she left and never returned to the home she shared with her father in PG County. It says she means so much to so many, and so it is tough that we're at this point where the search is over and justice begins. Thompson's body was found in a grassy area off Route 50 in Anne Arundel County on Sunday, August 31st, nearly 1 week after her in this case. Her father, Daniel Thompson, said she left their house in Lanham around 10 p.m. on August 22nd to get gas. He last spoke to her over her text just before midnight. I got gas and I'm out. I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night, Daniel Thompson said as he recalled his daughter's text. It was the last time that he would ever hear from her. K Stewart, he said if you had no sound, just refresh the page. The video showed her getting into the SUV after talking to the driver, according to the police. The driver then drove to a home in the 12,000 block of Kimbridge Drive in Bowie. Now, let me also say this, y'all, for those who are not aware of the demographic surroundings in Maryland, where he dumped her at, that is a predominantly Hispanic enclave. That's a predominantly like Hispanic enclave in that area. Like Langley Park and Lanham and Hyattsville and all of that. It's a huge south of the Borderian area over there. It says the 19-year-old was seen on surveillance video leaving her white Ford Edge SUV in Hyattsville. What did I just say about Hyattsville? According to charging documents, she approached the suspect's GMC Yukon Denali and after approximately a minute of conversing, walks over to the passenger side of the vehicle and gets into the passenger front seat. For a reason still under investigation, it appears that the car willfully entered a vehicle being driven by Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, Chief Nader said. I don't know who typed this up, but it's like, it's so many grammatical errors in here. They said they went to the home in the 12,000 block of Kimbridge Drive in Bowie. Police said they drove to his house in Bowie. They believed he killed her in his bedroom. A roommate reports hearing the defendant having sex and then a grunting noise, which made it believe that someone was enjoying it. After executing a search warrant, police found what they believe to be the victim's blood and missing white and pink French manicured fingernail, along with hair, a wig, and other evidence in the bedroom and in the trash, along with multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie. When I read this, it kind of reminds me of what happened to Sade Robinson. That's what it kind of reminds me of. And then look at the age difference, because with Sade Robinson, she too was like, what, 20, I think? And the guy that she went along with was like 34.
New crafted flats from Pizza Hut are just $5 each till 5.
And then now you look at this one right here, where she was 19 and he's 35. Cool. Yeah, like it's a lot of moving parts. And Carlton, a lot of people was asking that same question. Asking, was she a sex worker? But I'm not entirely sure, because wait until I get to the end of this article, and that's why I'm gonna question that theory. They said they believe there was a struggle. Hernandez Mendez agreed to an interview and told detectives he went to the Galaxy nightclub to meet his ex-girlfriend, but never did. When detectives questioned further, the defendant denied any involvement and then asked for his lawyer, and police ended their questioning, according to the court documents. The nightclub is near where authorities said Thompson got inside of the suspect's vehicle. Police searched the home on September 4th and found evidence that suggested Dacara Thompson had been murdered in a bedroom of the home. Her cause of death has not yet been determined. Hernandez Mendez was charged with first and second degree murder and is being held on no bond. Detectives are still working to determine whether Dacara and Hernandez Mendez knew each other before August 23rd. Anyone with information is asked to call Prince George's County Police, and they give the number. According to Governor Moore, Thompson joined the state's most recent group of Maryland Service Year Option members right out of high school. The group represents Marylanders who are committed to public service. It says she yearned to be a part of our mission to solve big problems and with bold solutions through her passion for the arts. She was a bright light in our state. We will use every tool at our disposal to ensure those responsible for this crime are held responsible and honor Dakara's legacy of service through our unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of all Marylanders. It is Prince George's County official said Hernandez Mendez was in the U.S. illegally. Now listen to this, y'all. U.S. Park Police arrested him for a DUI 5 months ago, but let him go. So they know or are aware of this guy. They have a record of him based on that. So he's in their system. According to charging documents, a cousin told police the defendant has a drinking and drug problem. I think that the U.S. government has made the status of individuals relevant, the county executive said. This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him. So I think that questions should be asked of the Justice Department. Officials said ICE waited until Thursday to issue a detainer for the suspect. He was arrested by U.S. Park Police, which falls under the auspices of the federal government. So the federal government arrested him in April of this year on a DUI charge. He was then released pending his trial. I don't believe his trial date has even come up yet. Maryland was in the national spotlight after another man in the country illegally by the name of Victor Martinez Hernandez violated and murdered Rachel Morin in Bel Air in 2023. He is currently serving life without parole. The year before Morin was attacked, authorities said a 17-year-old from El Salvador with ties to the MS-13 gang killed 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton in Aberdeen in 2022. Her mother later sued the federal government for allowing him into the United States. Now, I looked up those two names, Rachel Morin and Kayla Hamilton. Both of those women were white. But the commonality between the person who killed Dacara Thompson and these two other women is that all three of them are south of the Borderian or illegal or a part of a gang. And for those who never saw what Dacara Thompson looked like, that is her. And on the left is the filth that killed her. In case people wanted to know. Sad story all the way around. Hopefully more information will eventually come out about this as time goes forward. But I'm glad that they ended up catching the guy that did it. And hopefully they throw the book at him. I feel like this. If they threw the book at the other two, then they should be able to do it with this one, but I won't hold my breath. But they should. Oh, Andre, you already know what you just said about the using this as a political tool. Oh, most definitely. They will most definitely politicize this if they haven't done so already. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to drop the link in the chat if anybody would like to come up and speak to any of the stories that I spoke on today. And for the sake of time, pick just one story and not every single story. So again, if anybody would like to come up and speak to any of the stories that I spoke on, but again, the limit is just one story, feel free to come right on up. Kira, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't want to say if she was or if she wasn't. That's why they want to figure out, did she have any contact with him prior to her disappearance and then, of course, her discovery. Blood Moon says, yeah, they would bring politics in this case like they did with Laken Riley. I forgot about that. They sure did. They created like a whole act behind it too. They made a whole Laken Riley act. So, hey, they probably will. I don't know. I will hope that they don't, but in this climate we live in, they probably will. Carlton said he's wearing a construction uniform. They caught him at work. Yeah, they did. He was at work when they got him. Church, what's going on? Well, I posted the link in the chat, but it doesn't look like anybody is coming up to speak. And shout out to Church and also Sybil for coming in the chat, even though y'all, and Mr. Williams for getting here, even though y'all got here a little bit late because the live is pretty much over. So y'all gonna have to catch the replay. Hold on, someone just came in. Samuel, I can't bring you up because it says you need to connect your mic or your cam in order for me to bring you up. So if you want to come, okay, you got it. Okay, cool.
What's going on? Torian, what's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Is it a time limit on the weekly recap?
I won't put a time limit on it, but the thing is, like I said, only speak on one story. Don't speak on every single story because we talked about about 6 or 7 things.
Okay. Weekly recap I want to go about Torian is about the Jordan Wells guy. You know, Torian, I looked at his Ghost Give Send Go, and he still is not near the mark that he's trying to raise. He's not even close to like $500.
Wait, who are you talking about?
The school teacher that got fired for trying to debate Amanda Seals.
Oh, you know what? Why when you brought that up, that threw me off because that wasn't one of the topics.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tor. I'm just kind of getting in. Like I seen that my notification that it was up, and I'm just now kind of getting up. But
yeah, what I wanted to do, because I already spoke about that, but I wanted to keep it focused on what I spoke on this live because I didn't talk about him today.
Oh, no, well, I'm sorry about that, Torian, but I just thought it was kind of funny that he's not like nowhere near close to he's not even close to 500, Torian.
Hey, that's on him.
Yeah, and somebody had literally said well, dude, why aren't you trying to get another job and stuff like that? Right now, he's acting like a liberal with his hand out.
because he probably can't get another job. You know, like his stuff is already out there. Probably no one wants to work with him. Like, you know, so this is all he can do.
I mean, I don't know, Torian. I mean, you know, why don't he go to try to get a job at Orange Kool-Aid's favorite restaurant? They're always hiring. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I wanted to let you know, because I think it's kind of hilarious, Torian, that, you know, because somebody that's always, you know, they always constantly talk about picking themselves up by the bootstraps. Why isn't he falling in line?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and get off, Torian, and keep doing what you do, man. B1.
B1. Shout out to Samuel for coming up. Next up, we got Cool Keezy. What's going on?
Peace. And it's my first time calling in, and peace to you. Thanks for doing this.
No problem.
Hey, I wanted to share a little bit about that last story, because it's funny that you did this, because like last night I just ran across a video somebody did about this article, and yeah, they definitely had those. They were being suggestive in the video, saying, you know, this sounds familiar. It sounds like some sex work type of stuff. And the context that the guy added was that, you know, the divesting thing, and, you know, when you do the sex work, they do have this thing where they say no blacks allowed and stuff like that. And so that kind of did ring a bell. Hopefully that's not the case, but it kind of looks like that. And that's all I was saying.
That was it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, to go a little bit further into what you was, I think I know what video you're talking about. But like I said, I don't know all the details behind, you know, this. Could she have been a sex worker? I'm not sure. I don't know. Probably.
I don't think she deserved that.
But that's what I was going to. That usually, like, when you go on, like, thinking about sex, it's a risk, because you just never know who you're dealing with. Because at the end of the day, even if she was a sex worker, she didn't deserve to lose her life in that way.
Oh, no.
But yeah,
but those are the risks that you take, though, when you do.
Yeah, it is a risk. It is a huge risk.
Because, you know, even and just the thing where they have that thing where they say no blacks allowed. A lot of those workers say that, but, you know, it's not black people that's going around unaliving people like that, and it's always somebody else other than black.
That's why I mentioned at the end, at the end of the article, about the two other cases where that happened at, also in the same state, but both of those women were white and they were around the same age as Dacara. And the reason why I brought that up is because, less hypothetically, because I don't know too much about their stories, but I do know that both of those women happen to be white. Why didn't they get the same thing of, oh, maybe they were sex workers as well? Why didn't they get that stigma that they were possibly a sex worker? And they got their lives taken away. But because it was Dacara and she was black, she had to be a sex worker, and she had to be messing with this older Guatemalan man, and somehow her life did not matter. That's why I brought that up. See, the thing is, if you are going to do that for her, you need to do that across the board. But we know a lot of people aren't going to do that.
I agree.
Because they're given the benefit of the doubt.
I agree with that. But thanks, brother.
All right, no problem. Thanks for coming up. Shout out to Cool Keezy for coming up. Next up, we got Pam for Pam Entertainment TV. What's going on, Pam?
Oh, nothing much. These stories. I'm liking your setup, the weekly thing. I encourage you to continue to do it.
Yeah, when I saw you pop in, like, I immediately thought of you, because I know you do these type of lives as well. But like I was saying earlier, I used to always do these lives. Like, before I started doing the individual singular topic lives, every week I would do the ones where it was like a recap of the week of maybe topics that I didn't talk about. But I said, let me get back into it, because it's so many stories I want to talk about, but I can't cover them all. So let me go ahead and do it. And let me do it on a Saturday when I know a lot of people might be available for me to speak on it.
Yeah, I need you to see my big smile on that. I will tell you this: the Dacara Thompson story just kind of broke my heart, whether she was a sex worker or not. And when I looked at her visually, she reminds me of the young lady that was pruned from the timeline in Mexico, and they still
Mm.
haven't.
Hmm.
She has that similar look, and that's what kind of broke my heart about that. But if you take that story and then couple it with this Laken Snelling story, the thing that I am seeing, and like you had said earlier, is white women get the benefit of the doubt of everything. Now, this woman supposedly, allegedly, because they're still working her case, had a deceased infant in her closet. Was she at the school? I'm trying to,
I
I
think
wanted to.
I think she might have been at the school when this happened.
So you're giving the benefit of the doubt. Now the reason why I say that is because there's no way that you're going to make me believe that there wasn't a slight odor
Mm.
in
Hmm.
this situation. And, they're just given the benefit of the doubt. Oh, they just probably have trash in the room. They're having thing versus had that been someone that looked like me, the RAs would have been in my room quicker than you would think, quicker than you may, looking through my stuff. Okay. And they're always given the benefit of doubt as if what they're doing is outside of them
Hmm.
versus if I do it, it's inherent that I
Hmm.
would have done something like that to this child when we all know that these are the same people when they would prune some of our folks from the timeline, they would consume us, they would take little pieces of us and do all kinds of stuff like that. And so I just looking, and then versus this young lady Dacara that gets pruned from the timeline, everyone is concerned about whether or not that if she was out rolling the stroll, that somehow all these things make it's like a checkbox. Okay, she possibly was rolling the stroll, let me check that. She looks like me, let me check that. And these things don't matter versus the other two ladies that they've had those issues with. And what concerns me so is the fact that I don't know, I just think that because of those things, there are people within and outside of our community that wreak havoc on us.
Hmm.
And might have serial pruners, all of these different things that are going on within our community. But because we don't look at it as such, that there's this inherent bias that we are so bad, we are so evil because other people have told us that when things happen to any of us, we kind of look down on it. Oh, well,
Hmm.
if she wasn't doing this, then this would have happened. If she wasn't doing this, she wouldn't happen. And then we're not realizing that we are talking ourselves almost out of existence, talking like that. And so I would just encourage us all that if you find somebody that you know and you ain't talked to them in a couple of days and you tried to reach out, go check on your people,
Definitely.
because this type of stuff, whether we realize it or not, and in the climate that we're in right now, I just want us as Black folks, if we believe that Black first, we need to be checking on these stuff, stop all these gender wars, stop all of this other stuff, and we need to be more of a community. We are a community. Don't let nobody tell you that we are not. But just check on your people. Just stop all this other stuff and just check on your people. And that's all I got to say.
Appreciate you coming up, Pam. Shout out to Pam for Pam Entertainment TV, and if you have not subscribed to her channel, I would highly suggest doing so. Church, what's going on?
How you doing, Torian? I hope your day is going well.
It is.
I missed this this one because I keep forgetting that you're an hour ahead of me, and YouTube didn't send me the notification, and I'm not at home to get it on Discord. So I'm going to be on the replay gang, and
Okay.
definitely in the comment section on that. But I just wanted to come up and say this real quick to all my sisters out there. Now, if more than ever, if you don't know how, you need to go get acquainted with power tools. And if you're in a state that don't allow you to have power tools, then there are new power tools that are coming out and hitting the market that actually let off projectiles. So it'll stun people and it give you enough time to get away. So please find something to protect yourselves out here, because it's getting to those times where it wasn't safe before walking around as a woman. It's that then hyped up 10 times fold, you know. So I really want our sisters to be protected. If you can go get you a power tool, hit the yard, hit the range, learn to use it and use it properly so that you can protect yourself. If not, go get you one of those projectile launchers, so at least you'll be able to get away. Thank you for having me up, family.
No problem. And to echo on or add on to what Church just said, in the state of Maryland, you can get an HQL, which is a handgun qualifying license. I know because I have one. You can also get a permit in Maryland as well. It's extra avenues that you have to go in order to get it, but it's definitely attainable. It's not like you can't get it. You can get it, but you just have to make sure that you are going through like the laws. And if you don't know how it is, just like for whatever state you is, Google your firearm laws in your state and see how it is. Of course, there are some states out there that are open carry. That means it's probably the easiest to get when you're in an open carry state. That's probably very easy for you. Now, of course, if you are in a state that has a lot of strict gun laws, then that's when you gotta go through some hoops and hurdles and stuff like that. Like exactly, Pam, what you just said. Plus, learn the laws, the gun laws in your state, and definitely go to the range and practice so you can have your accuracy up to par. All right, next up we got Jonathan. What's going on?
Oh, nice. Hey, what's up, man? I'm good. Yeah, I'm just not seeing your live about Dacara Thompson. And I saw it on your Twitter as well, and I was like, God dang, another young black girl can take about older non-black men. And my thing is, what is it? Why is it's always these sick ass older men that go after our youngins? Like, wait, like they're 19 and younger, and they target them so much. It's so cowardly. Now I'm upset that this happened, and I'm upset the fact that she was like a sex. That they claim that she was a sex worker and all that. I don't know if that's true or not. But even because the thing is, they like what Pam said, they can use that to as in she got what she deserved, and the guy, even though the guy was a criminal, he was a sicko. Like,
and
you don't know
here and was here illegally. I think that's the part that a lot of people keep forgetting. He's not even supposed to be here. He's an illegal from Guatemala, and a few months ago he had DUI charges. They had him, detain him, and then they let him go. I keep thinking to myself, if y'all just kept him detained on that alone, and the fact that he was here illegally, Dacara Thompson would most likely still be alive.
and you know what? That's why, like, this justice system that they have, it's the fakest justice system ever. Like, I don't believe in that system because they always letting the sickos. I'm starting to notice that pattern. Like, they letting these type of folks get out too soon when they should have been in there with no bond. And when you allow sickos like that to just go back to roam around the streets, stuff like this happens. And you know what I'm saying? Now we got to be on interviews on the podium, making speeches about it and everything. It's really sad, and also I just feel bad for the young lady, and she didn't deserve that, no matter what kind of lifestyle. Because like I said, we don't know what she went through for her to take that route. Because she had a kid, she desperately needed money. So probably
hold on. I don't know if she had a kid. Like, they didn't mention anything about her having a child.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have to correct you right there.
Okay, my fault. Well, either way, rest in peace to that young lady. And I really hope that dude gets executed. And the justice system. They need to start suing these justice system departments that keep letting these criminals go like that. Because if they just keep them in jail and now, the thing is when they release them, they don't put any type of restraint, like protective order, like monitors to keep them, in the house, like keeping them from walking outside of a society. If they just do that, we won't be seeing much of these incidents.
Right.
But yeah, rest in peace to her. Rest in peace to the other people. That if I missed out on them, Kalina Hamilton. I forgot. I'm sorry. Kaylin Hamilton.
Yeah, her name was Kayla Hamilton, and the other one's name was Rachel Morin.
Oh, okay. See, yeah. Rest in peace to both of them as well. Like we got this whole thing that's going on here in Babylon, America. That's to stop. And I'm gonna just lay my plan right there.
All right, appreciate you coming up. Shout out to Jonathan for coming up. Next up, we got Pinky JYB. What's going on?
Hey, Torian, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, now I just wanted to be quick. I just wanted to also add in regarding the whole issue of getting a gun permit. I just got mine renewed about 3 months ago, and I live in New York. So to anyone, man or woman, if you guys live in New York, getting your pistol permit without being a cop is attainable. But I'm gonna tell you right now, once you get it, hold on to your permit, because if you lose it, the cops will question you. They'll ask you if you're law enforcement, and if you say no, they will give you a side eye for it. But it is attainable. It takes time, but it can be done. I got mine I applied during the lockdown, and it literally took 2 years for them to respond to me the first time.
Wow.
Again, 2 years. Yeah, again, we're talking in New York. We're talking one police plaza in Manhattan. But I did get it. I mean, the first 2 years, I totally forgot about it. I'm not even gonna lie. And then I get an email saying, hey, you can come in and get your fingerprints done. And then after the fingerprints, I had to wait another 9 months. After the 9 months came the interview, and then they said, hey, now you have 30 days to buy your firearm, and then we're gonna register it here. But again, it is attainable. Do not think it's not, especially in the state of New York. You can do it. I got it. And again, I just renewed it. So in the next couple of weekends, in the next couple of weeks, I plan on taking it to the gun range. So yes, ladies, fellas, if you live in New York, it can be done. Because New York is probably by far one of the strictest states, and I really don't get why. So, and the thing is, one other thing, when I did get my firearm registered, I did see a lot of us getting their firearms registered. I mean, this one dude had a suitcase. He had his firearm in a huge suitcase, like a long suitcase. So, the funny thing is, now, not only are you allowed to get a pistol, you have 90 days to register another one out here. If you have one pistol that you're registering out here, they give you 90 days if you buy another one to register it. You don't have to go through the application or anything right after you get your permit. That's crazy, right?
Right. It is. And you're right about that, because New York is one of the strictest, has one gun laws is very strict up there. And it's funny because that you mentioned that, because when you was explaining how to get it, that process almost sounds like how it is in Maryland, because with they saying, oh, you got to be if you are a cop, it's easy for to get one, and it most likely is. But to obtain it as just a citizen, it's a process. That's why I was saying, when me get my HQL, all I had to do was go sit in on I think it was like a 5-hour class. Then when they took us to the range, because the range was connected to where the classroom was at, it's in the same building. And then we just shot off a couple of rounds off of a revolver. And then we had to go get our fingerprints done and all types of stuff. And then they mailed us the HQL. So it was a pretty simple process. But then again, that was 2015 when I got it. So I don't know if the policy is still the same or the process is slightly different.
Well, for New York, they changed up a few little things. You no longer have to take a class. Now, my bad. You have to take a class if you want your concealed carry. You have to take a class for that. But for any civilian who wants to get their pistol permit, again, you got to fill out the form, you pay the fee. Now, in the beginning, anyone used to get rejected, and that was before the lockdown. after the lockdown, turns out that they had to literally get rid of everyone that was in that department because of course, there was some things going on. Well, the person that interviewed me told me everything. She didn't give me names, and she said, "Oh, because of this, we had to get rid of the entire department, and we're starting new. So, just so you know, you're already good." She was so nice. She was like, "You're already good. Go buy your pistol, and you're fine." She gave me paperwork. I showed it to the people at the gun range, and of course, they were the opposite of us, but they showed me what they had, and I got it. I registered it, but again, 2 years. I had to wait 2 years. So again, it can be done. It can be done.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming up and sharing that information with us because I think there's a few people in the chat who are also from New York.
No problem.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to Pinky JYB for coming up. Let's see. This most likely will be the last person to come up and speak.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Hurricane Nisi, what's going on?
Good evening, Tori, and good evening, family in the chat. I want to discuss the first story.
Okay.
About the young ladies in the braiding school. And kudos to the teachers who are teaching the young ladies properly. It warms my heart to see our young people, in spite of everything that is thrown our way, making it do what it do.
Exactly.
That story really warmed my heart.
Yeah, I can tell that it did because the comments that you was leaving in the chat, like that's why when I used to do these lives, I always started off with those first because I already knew what we was getting ready to get ourselves into on the back end. But I said if there is like positive stories out there to talk about, I always led with those first.
Well, anyway, I just got a call earlier doing your live. My brother, he's in town. His birthday was yesterday. I had to ask the Negro how old he is. We 3.5 years apart. So anyway, it's called I'm Getting Old. Anywho, he's in town. He's here in West Virginia. And my brother, I appreciate him because he know how I am. He said, "What you doing?" I said, "You know what I'm doing. I'm at home. I'm in my pajamas. I'm in the house. I ain't going nowhere." He said, "Well, I didn't want to leave town without letting you know I was here." I said, "Well, I know what you look like. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, Tori. As you get older, you got a while. You still young, baby. But as you get older, and I'm sure some of my boomer people can attest to this, we have for me, I have a routine. Don't mess with my routine. Do not mess with my peace of mind. And don't bring me your bullshit."
I can't fault you for that because I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though I'm still relatively young, I'm in that age bracket where I'm starting to get into a routine. And the thing is, when you got people that like are a generation younger than you or whatever, they're not used to a routine because everything is happening so fast, so they can't keep themselves planted into a routine just yet. They might have a routine for certain things, but their whole life is not a routine. But when you start getting to a certain age, your whole life becomes a routine. And like you said, you don't want it interrupted. If you feel like it's interrupted, it will just completely wreck your day.
Exactly. Because like today here, it's in the mid 60s. It's been raining off and on. You know, we're coming to the end of summer, getting ready to transition into fall, which I love. That's my favorite season. I love the fall, but I hate it because my allergies are getting ready to act up. But other than that, I have no complaints. I go to work Monday through Friday. When I get off work on Friday, which is payday, I do my regular grocery shop, gas up my car. You know, once I come in the house and once the bra gets unpopped, that's a wrap, baby.
You sound just like when you said that last part. You sound like it was something I heard years ago. I probably was in college, and it was I don't know if it was some girl or maybe an older woman said one of the most satisfying things for me is like I get up, I go to work in the morning, and I do my thing, and then I come home, and the most satisfying thing for me is getting comfortable after I take my fucking bra off.
Thank you. See, you gotta be female to understand, honey. You need that release. You be like, oh shit, I can breathe. All right, well, you have a blessed weekend, baby.
You too. Thanks for coming up. Shout out to Ms. Anisi for rounding out the calls this evening on this particular live. But I appreciate you coming up. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing some more of these weekly recaps. Like I said, I'm gonna just cover stories that I wasn't able to talk about throughout the week, and that's good for me because then if it's a story that I talked about in this live, if I want to clip it and upload it as its own separate video, which I have done numerous times in the past, I can go ahead and do it. As a matter of fact, it's something that I talked about in the live a couple weeks ago that I'm gonna do. I clipped already that I'm gonna set up as its own individual video in the coming weeks. But yeah, shout out to Ms. Nisi for rounding out the calls, and I definitely appreciate you coming up, and shout out to everyone else that came up and spoke as well. I'm gonna keep these type of lives going, so we'll be doing it again at the same time, unless the time changes or unless I'm not able to do it. But as of right now, it looks like I will be available to again do it next Saturday. But shout out to everyone that came through. Again, if y'all happen to miss the live for whatever reason, that is okay. I won't hold it against you. You know, that's what the replay is there for. But anyway, y'all, the next time you will get commentary from me will be on Monday. 2 videos on Monday at 11 and 6. So y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. And we will be back at it on Monday. Be safe. And most importantly, be one.